I can't believe I'm gonna be on the next season. This is so crazy. The moment I got cast on Renovation Resort, there was one room I wanted more than anything: the kitchen. Now, I know every designer probably wants the kitchen, but for me, it wasn't because it's the biggest or the flashiest room. It was because I felt like it was the one space where I could really tell my story. I went in telling myself I didn't want to design a kitchen I already had at home. I wanted to push myself, perhaps take a risk, and ultimately create something that people remembered. So I leaned into my Japanese culture, trusted my instincts, and designed a kitchen that really felt personal to me. And to my surprise, we won. It was honestly such an incredible moment, not just because of the challenge win, but because everyone celebrated with us. The cast was so supportive, and it was one of those moments I'll always remember. And then the episode aired, and I quickly realized that our kitchen was a pretty controversial winner. Of course, I read the comments. When you spend that much time creating something, you can't help but wonder what people think. Some comments were incredibly kind, some not so much. And did it hurt? Yeah, of course. But after going through the first round of comments when the episode aired in Canada, I had some time to reflect. And I realized I wasn't upset because a group of people decided they didn't like my design. It's about what happens when you put something you've poured your whole heart into, release that art into the world, and have to come to terms that people don't always see it the way you hope they would. Whether you're a designer, an artist, a creator, or you're just someone who's trying something new. I think we've all experienced that feeling in one way or another. So today, I'm not here to change anyone's opinion, but as an artist, it's important to share the story behind the design, why I made the decisions I did, perhaps what I do differently, and what this experience taught me as a designer. So, let's talk. When it came down to designing the kitchen for Renovation Resort Showdown, I was ecstatic. A kitchen on HGTV. What more could a designer want? I had a good idea of what I wanted to put together, but it was important for me to converse with my partner. So I asked my builder, we're designing this together. We're both putting our names on this. If there is one thing you want me to include or design around, what would it be? And point blank period, he told me, Taylor, I want a black kitchen. Done. And I'm like, okay, great. Now I have something to work with. Our style was already very moody, and so it wasn't hard to incorporate on that end. But with a dark palette, naturally, inevitably, comes with a lack of color. It was important to me that in order for a space not to fall flat, the solution to that is incorporating some sort of texture or form and make certain corners pop to bring the whole space to life. I also want to be mindful of layout. The thing about layout is when it's a smaller kitchen and everything's black, it tends to feel really heavy. And I wanted to be really mindful and cognizant of that when I started to select materials that would be layered on top. And to air it out, I made the decision to forego the upper cabinets. And that is where the controversy began. And add a linear stone shelf with globe sconces. And that was chosen intentionally because our house is called Moonlight Bay. And I thought, where can we include some curves in here? Dark cabinets can feel really harsh, but where can we create some body here? Where can we create some visual interest? So we worked to subtly soften the space by adding spheres, ovals, lines, curves. And to be so for real, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. This has been done many times before, but I figured, how can I make this something that is remembered? I wanted someone to look at the space and know right then and there if they loved it or hated it. Like, that is just what gets me excited, which is a little ironic considering that I am here making this video with you today. I thought it was like the perfect equation. It was like a dark kitchen with the Moonlight Bay aesthetic and a contemporary whimsical feel. Like, no, I know it was not everyone's cup of tea. This is where a lot of the discourse lay. It was the lack of storage in the kitchen. I respect every single person's opinion. To each their own. And that's why I love design, right? Like I said from the forefront, I love that polarization. One thing that Deborah mentioned is the lack of storage in the curved island. That was pitched. We were not able to do that. Because could you imagine? I love the idea of like a spinning table where you reach in and then you can store all of your like glassware by the sink, and it's just a glorious little bar, wine kitchenette almost. And you come in from a long day at the beach where you grab your glass and your water, you have the fridge right there, and then you grab your iced tea, and trust me, it would have been a mood, and I am so there for it. But that just wasn't able to happen at the end of the day. Storage is something that I would love to consider, but I also love my sconces. That is something I just wouldn't change. The design detour. it was a banquette. There are a lot of different styles. A lot of people had storage under. There were some with cushions. There was some that opened up. But thinking about my design style, I knew I wanted to stay really grounded and true to my culture. Japanese culture utilizes a lot of simplistic forms of visual interest. A lot of lines, shapes, squares, and textures. And I thought it'd be a really beautiful homage to my culture to incorporate a linear and simplistic bench with storage under. The lower profile Japanese bench is called atedai. It looks something like this. I'm aware even for myself that sitting on a surface that's hard and linear with no real butt cheek indentation or cushioning is uncomfortable, which is ultimately why I introduced zabuton to the space. Traditionally, a zabuton is a Japanese seat cushion used for people to sit and have meals on the floor. Ultimately, it's a very Japanese take on a kitchen design. And as someone who grew up very much in the know of my culture, it was really cool to be able to put that out for people to see. Listen, I knew that there was a chance that this wasn't going to be well received. Of course I knew that there was going to be a mixed bag of people's opinions. And I feel like a part of me was really excited and it exhilarated me in a strange way, because I felt that this was a really cool opportunity to show something that maybe might ruffle a few feathers, create conversation, create that buzz. Everyone did an amazing job. But something that was so cool and exciting about this season is just how on display culture in general was. And to see that play out with a group of people that I call friends and are my castmates, it was such like a surreal experience, because here we are creating entertainment, which is what the show is, right? And we're able to challenge ourselves and each other in this competition, but we're also able to hold hands while we're doing it. When we looked at this wall, initially I had some photography that I was going to post up. As time went on, I really started to think about what I wanted this art to mean. As a very Japanese inspired kitchen, what message do I want to put out with this episode? You know, kitchens mean so much to so many people. And to be honest, I do believe that's why there was such a high volume of opinions on the kitchen episode. It's because everyone has a memory in the kitchen. Everyone experiences some part of their life, happy or sad, in a kitchen. Food, conversation, catching up with people. And I do believe that that is kind of the fire of what makes people passionate about this space, which is awesome. Which is why I thought the character Hito on 3 canvases was perfect. Hito is a Japanese character, which means people or person. And knowing that this is going to be rental property utilized in the future, I just wanted people to feel like they were accepted. Honestly, is everyone that walks through the doors going to be like,
"Oh my God, Hito! I know what that means. I feel welcomed right off the bat."
Probably not. But for me, there's a message in it. And I feel like that's what is so sculptural and beautiful about design. It's that it could be whatever you want it to be. It's like you read a poetic verse and it can be received in 10 different ways. That is the beauty of design. This experience was so fundamental and groundbreaking to me as a designer. Something that I learned as a creator and artist in this experience is that art can be received in so many different ways. And because it can be received in so many different ways, what I've learned is that the only person that really needs approval of an art form is the artist. There needs to be a foundation and understanding, a genuine love to the art, that as an artist putting her art out into the world, it needs to live in that, because otherwise it's going to be really hard and challenging. Art, in my opinion, is a form of entertainment. We put ourselves out there for people to judge, for people to have opinions, because that is the machine that we're feeding. And I do believe that the only way to sustain and to be able to continue to put art out into the world with confidence and love for that craft is to just be able to stand behind your work. And that's something I'm genuinely so glad I took out of this experience. At the end of the day, the only thing we can do is our best. And our best is 100% of the time enough. I am very content with the art that I left the show creating. And that for me is what it's about. Cheers! I was so thirsty. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I had a great time, as always. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.